All right, now let's do a few other things here. What I'll have you do is create a brand new blend here using whatever shapes and whatever color you'd like. Doesn't really matter a whole lot here. I'll start with a blue rectangle, and I'll also create a polygon here whose fill color I'll switch to green using my color palette. I'll grab both of my shapes here and go ahead and create your blend. Object, blend, make, and by the way, there's our keyboard shortcut if you'd like to use it. There's my blend. Now I can do a few different things here using my white arrow tool in Illustrator. Obviously with my black arrow tool, the whole blend is treated as one single object, and of course I can rotate it and scale it and do all kinds of lovely things to it here with my black arrow tool. But you can do some neat things with your white arrow tool. So go ahead and click on your white arrow tool, and then I'm going to click back on my blend here. Now you'll notice that you can't click directly on your shapes here. So what I'm going to do is go into Illustrator's outline mode, Control Y on the PC or Command Y here on the Mac, and there's the edge of my shape there. So I can click on an anchor point here if I want to highlight it. In Illustrator's outline mode, it makes it much easier to see the two shapes that are part of my blend here, the starting shape and the ending shape. And of course, it's much easier to find the edges of those shapes and drag on them, as well as the anchor points of those shapes. So I can make whatever adjustments I want to either of my shapes here just by dragging on these sides here. And of course I can do this with either the starting shape in my blend or the ending shape in my blend. I make whatever change I want here. I'll head back into my outline mode, and you can see that my blend has adjusted here. I made this look more like a rectangle here. I adjusted some of my sides here. Now it's pretty tricky to see here because there's so many steps between my two blended shapes here. So here's what I'm going to do with you. I'm going to hit my V key on my keyboard. That grabs my Move tool, and I'll highlight my blend, and I'm going to go back into my blend options and switch the number of steps between my starting shape and ending shape. So let's go Object, down to Blend, into Blend Options, switch over to Specified Steps, and I'll use a much lower value again, maybe 5, something like this. There we are. Okay, there it is. And now I should be able to manipulate the paths on my objects here, the individual anchor points. So I can drag inside the center of my shape. That moves the shape around. I can grab the individual anchor points here. And depending on where I click, I'm either going to move my shape around or adjust individual anchor points and paths here. Okay, let's do a few other things. I'm going to go and grab my pen tool, and with my pen tool selected here, I can bring my cursor over the edge of one of my objects, and just looking at my cursor I can tell that I'm about to add an anchor point. I can see the plus sign appearing just to the side of my pen tool there. And if I hold down the Command key or the Control key on the PC, I can then adjust this anchor point, and you can see this ripple effect happening all the way down my blend here. Let me do that a few more times. I'll bring my pen tool over to the other side of my shape here. I see the plus appearing, so I'll single click there, and I'll hold down my Command key or the Control key on the PC and click and drag, and there's my extra point there. Now I got a curved point here because I clicked and dragged just slightly. So in other words, I can make changes to the ending shape, and also I can make changes to my starting shape here. I'm just going to hit my A key, go back to my white arrow tool here, and again I can begin manipulating the paths and anchor points that appear on these different shapes. Of course I could switch back to my pen tool here. Try just hitting the P key on your keyboard. That's a faster way to switch back to your pen tool. And of course I can also delete existing anchor points, and you'll see that ripple effect happening right across my entire blend here. So I'll select this guy just by holding down the Command key and clicking, or the Control key on the Mac there. Hover over top of an anchor point, single click, and you can see that effect rippling right down my blend there. Here's another neat thing I can do. I'll hit my A key to switch back to my white arrow tool, select my ending shape here, and I'm going to hold down Option or Alt on the PC and click and drag, and that creates a copy of that shape. Now what I've done is I've just continued on my blend here, and with this ending shape still selected here, I'll go and change the fill color. And there's that shape there. I could come in here, select a shape in the middle of my blend, and press delete. And now I have a blend going from blue to blue. That isn't very exciting here, so I'll grab the shape on the end and fill it with a different color.